Hey there, so I was just going to do a quick video and show you the Robo-Tank app. So here we get our first login screen. You can set your username and password when you do the install. And when you log in, you get the main dashboard here. On the left side, we have all our various sensors that we set up. On the right side, we have the equipment that we set up. And in the middle, we have some graphs or charts. So if you click any one of these sensors, it will take you to the settings page for that particular setting or that particular sensor. So this one is the waterproof, and we can change its custom name here, how many days to chart. So we have it set to 60. If I change that to 5 days, it will only pull 5 days of data from the database. That's good for if you're on a phone or whatever and you don't want to use too much of your data up, pulling info from the database. We've got a malfunction alert, on or off. So if the sensor comes unplugged or stops working, you will get an email alert if that happens, so that's handy. Over here we have our min and max settings, which we can reset just like that. You can clear the chart if you want. We don't want to. You can scroll through the chart. Over here we have moving average. So this, you can see now it's jagged, and if we set to 50, it's a smoother chart, so that's just your rolling average. How much we want to see and time frame for a chart: 1 hour, 6, 24, 3 days, 7 days, 14 days, 30 days, or 90 days. And you can calibrate. So here it tells you what you need to do to set up the calibration. You hit start calibration and it'll just automatically do it. You have to wait between 1 and 10 minutes depending how long it takes to stabilize the sensor. And then you can erase your calibration at any point. And then we have our sump pH. There is no settings for the pH right now, but that is coming. You can calibrate it, and I'll just show you that quickly here. Calibrate probe, select the probe you want to calibrate. We only have one. We can do a 1-point or a 2-point calibration. If we do 1 point, it'll show you the uncalibrated value and you set the buffer you want to use. Then you hit start and wait and let it do its thing. 2-point, same thing, except it'll take you through a second step. And then you can delete the calibration at any time. And then we've got a flow meter set up here. Currently I don't have a flow meter connected, so it's just 0 flow. But you can click that, you can change the custom name. Currently you can only add a calibration factor. Later I will put in a nicer calibration method there. You can change how you view the output through US or imperial, pints, quarts, liters, or gallons. And then you can see it per second, per minute, per hour, or per day. And then you can reset the total flow. That's what this number is here, total flow. And this number is the actual flow rate. Then we've got our different sensor ports here. And so on the right side, we've got our AC outlets, DC ports. If you just click the AC outlets, you get this screen here. This is where you can manually turn them on or off. And you'll see one has a red dot, which means it's in automatic or in manual mode. When an outlet is in manual mode, no other system will switch it. So it's basically locked on. So if we click that, you can see it got a red dot. Now, if a schedule comes along to turn outlet 1 off, it will not turn off. So that's good if you're doing maintenance or whatever. To put it back in manual mode, you simply just click the red dot and it'll go back in manual mode there. Do the same with your DC ports. And then we've got our dosing pumps. So we've got 3 set up. You can change the name here. Just change it to 4 and it'll change it. If you click on the reservoir, you can set the color to whatever color you want. And then you can refill the reservoir. Are you sure you want to refill it? Yes. Annual dose. So if we dose right now 15.234 milliliters. Dose. And it'll run a dose here. We can view the details. So here's all our different schedules that we have set up. If you click on them, it'll give you what that schedule will do. So this is a recurring schedule. So it's going to run 24 times a day, starting at 12 a.m. with intervals of 1 hour. And this is the times that it will start running. And you just click on whatever one you want. If you add a schedule, you just put in a name, test schedule 2, how much you want to dose. So maybe we want to dose 15 total. Do you want it recurring? So if it's recurring, what'll happen here? So if we do, for example, 24 milliliters, 1 hour, 1 milliliter per dose, and run all day. Now it's going to run 24 total per day at intervals. If we do our math, that's every hour, 1 milliliter. So hope that makes sense to you. Or you can change it to doses during the time frame. So maybe we have 24 total, and we want to do it within 5 doses. That should have erased. I'll have to update that. Then you can change repeat every X number of days. So maybe you want this to happen every 4 days, or every Tuesday and Friday, or every day of the week. And then if you don't want to run the schedule all day, you can put your first day, the first dose, and then you can select the time for your last dose, and then it will just do the math automatically. Save, yes, and you can see now that it is going to dose 5 times and every 2 hours. So you can just read that for yourself. It's going to, each dose will be 4.8 milliliters between the 5 doses, which will give you 24 milliliters total. So we've got a stir, so you can add a stir. So currently it's empty. So let's just close this. Let's go back. If we go into our configure ports, go to our DC ports, typically a stir is 12 volts, but you can do it with an AC outlet as well. So if you had an AC outlet, you would come in here, select dosing stir, or if you have a DC port, you come here. So let's say our port is plugged into, those are all being used right now. Okay, let's go with an AC. Power bar 2, let's enable outlet 2, set it as stir, and hit save. Now we can go back, and if we go back to our dosing pumps, view our details, go to our stirs, now we have that stir available, outlet 2, and it will show. So now you can change the speed of the stir. When you adjust this, the stir will turn on, so you can actually see how fast it's running. How long the stir should run. So maybe you want to stir your reservoir for 15 seconds, and after it's finished stirring, maybe you want it to settle for 10 seconds. After the 10-second settling time, the dose will actually start. And then we can do a calibration. So here you can calibrate. So when you adjust this, I might put another setting in here. Currently, when you move this, the dosing pump will start running. So you can see how fast it's running. Maybe you don't want it to run when you adjust the speed, so I will get a setting in there. You set how much you want to calibrate, set the pump rate, and it basically tells you here how to do it. We've got our settings. So here our reservoir capacity. So right now it's at 2 liters. Minimum delay between doses. So maybe this is kind of like a security thing. So maybe you don't want to dose. You don't want doses to happen more than 540 minutes between them. So say you had a custom rule set up that was turning on and off, on and off, on and off. That could be dangerous because it would keep dosing in your system. But with this delay, it won't happen. It'll make sure that after it doses, there will be no more doses for 540 minutes, no matter what happens. You can enable the reservoir or disable it. If you disable the reservoir, this won't update, and the pump will always run no matter what. If the reservoir is enabled as it is now, when the reservoir is empty, the pump will no longer run, and you can get an alert. Maybe when the reservoir gets down to 20 milliliters, you'll get an email or a dashboard alert. Currently, the dashboard alerts aren't set up, but that will be coming shortly here. And then we have, that's all our settings, our log. So here's different log. This is just for dosing pumps. You can see, so you can see the source, maybe no custom rules. This is just, it looks like I have to filter this a bit, but there. So now we're only seeing doses through schedules and manual doses. You can see I've done 2 manual doses within this time frame. You can set the time frame for whatever you want. And yeah, so we exit that. We'll go to our main log. This is where all the filtering is that I have to sort out there. So here we can see custom rules. So you can see we've got some heater that's turning on and off with a custom rule. There's some manual outlets that were switched on and off, and just, yeah, so you can check by equipment type. If you want to only look at AC outlets, the auto feeder, DC ports, dosing pumps, lights, sensors, or all of them. And then, yeah, action, if you just want to look at when it was turned off or turned on, or when the controller was rebooted. Let's go. So you can see this is every time I've rebooted the controller, and then how many records, and you can delete your log at any time, or you can delete an individual entry. So now we went over our dosing pumps. Let's go into our settings. So as I explained here, you just you select the module that you have, and so that's the feeder port. Maybe you don't want it to be an auto feeder. Maybe you want it to be a heater or a dosing pump or a dosing pump stirrer. So you can, whatever function you set here is where it'll appear in the system. We've got our sensor module. So if we click one of those, you can see you can set it as a DHT22 temp or humidity sensor, the regular temperature sensors, float switch, non-contact optical, toggle switch, other sensor, or flow meter. And if we go to one that's not on, so let's set this as a non-contact, enable it. You can invert the logic, so on is off is on, or on is on, off is off. Save it, and now you can see there it is right there, sensor port 6, and you get the little icon that matches what kind of sensor it is. And then of course with our DC ports, you can select an AC outlet, auto feeder, DC port, dosing pump stirrer, a light, heater, or chiller. And then we can go to advanced mode. And I see, when did that happen? Sorry about that. Little glitch there, but yeah, here you can just manually adjust. That's disappointing. Anyways, that's a quick fix. I will get that solved. And then what else do we've got? We've got our email settings. So sadly, Gmail doesn't work on here anymore. They've disabled their secure passwords for third-party apps, but they do have another way that we can work on that, so I will get that working again. But you can set up any SMTP server, just put in the details here, and then you can have the email go to the administrator, and then 3 other recipients. And then your Outlook one, if you use Outlook email, you can just do the same there. Calibrate probes, I already went through that, so here's where you can calibrate your pH, and that's your current uncalibrated, and then you select your buffer and hit start. And our temperature sensor, so right now we only have one. It is plugged in, yes. If I unplug that, it'll say no, it's not plugged in, and you'll get that alert that I mentioned here earlier. And then our flow meters, which I already went over that. And this isn't working just yet. And then here's all our settings. So you got a controller ID, auto log out after X number of hours. So no one will have access to the system. You can go Celsius or Fahrenheit, 12 hours or 24 hours. So you can see the clock now went to 24-hour format. And when you do that, all the schedules, even So this is kind of nice too. So Celsius is our temperature. Maybe you decide you want Fahrenheit now. So if we go to home, all our charts are now showing old data in Fahrenheit. If we go back and change to Celsius, you can see all our charts are now in Celsius for old data as well. And then we've got our auto update, so off, and then you just manually check for an update, and it will check. Nothing. It doesn't tell you anything. If there was an update, a pop-up would appear, or you can just set it to auto update, and it checks, I believe, every 2-3 hours, which is kind of excessive, but whatever. Database backup. This just isn't working quite yet, but this will be a feature. You can back up the database automatically or manually, and then you'll be able to restore it. And then the different controller versions. So this just changes the pinouts for all the various controllers that I've put out there. So if you have version 1, and this requires a reset, so I won't do that. And then you can reset the controller at any time. And if you want to support, here's an extra little supporting thing. So that is all our settings there. And then down here we've got our schedules. So these are just our normal schedules. So if we want to schedule AC outlet, on, test 1, select your time, and then what days you want it to go. Do you want the schedule to be an on schedule or an off schedule? And hit save. And then it'll just tell you there. So that's our scheduling. Lights. So we've got light modes. So we have one light, and then we can add a new mode. Oops. There we go. So here you can just add different times. So it will now fade from 2:59 p.m. It'll be off, and it'll slowly fade up to that level until 11:59, and then we can go back down to 3 a.m. and it's just going to sort it, but whatever. It'll be back off. So I do have to work on this. It's going to be much better. This is just a basic one for now. And then we've got our custom rules. This is the heart of the controller. This is where you can use any sensor to turn any equipment on or off. So we have 2 custom rules set up to control the heater. If waterproof is waterproof is the temperature sensor. That's the custom name I selected. Is less than 25.2 for 1 consecutive seconds. It'll turn on these 2 outlets, and it'll switch them immediately. And if waterproof is greater than 25.5 for 1 consecutive, it'll do that. So you can add a custom rule. Only sensors you've configured will show up here. So we've got water sensors, temp, pH, or flow meter. So maybe you want to base on pH level. If your pH drops below this level, how long should it hold before it triggers? So maybe you don't want false, maybe the reading is bouncing from 731 to 732 kind of thing. This will make sure that it sits at the level 731 for at least 60 seconds before it switches. Then you can add a second sensor. So yes, second sensor. So it says if pH is less than 731 for 60 consecutive seconds, and or. So maybe or waterproof is greater. Just click that and it'll go from greater to less. Greater than. Hold its value for 10 seconds. Select the equipment. So maybe we want to turn on. So you can do on, off, then off, then on. So I'll just set them all here so you can see what it's about. And we can do a dose. So now we have the outlets that we selected. So maybe we want to delay so you can stagger things. So now the custom rule is going to trigger after 60 seconds when the pH stabilizes. And then see, you get a new setting here. I'll explain that shortly. So now after the custom rule actually triggers, it's going to wait 10 seconds before this goes off. It'll turn this one on in 3 seconds. It'll turn this one on in 30 seconds so you can stagger it. So what this new setting is about is how would you like the equipment delays to be handled in the event the sensor resets. So what happens if your pH level drops again below that set level? Should the custom rule that is running in the background continue to run, or should it abort? So if you abort it, so maybe this power bar outlet 4 switched in 3 seconds, but the sensor reset before it hit this 38 seconds for this. Do you want it to abort or do you want it to finish? So if you let custom rule finish, no matter what, this custom rule will finish and this action will happen. If you abort, if the sensor resets and this turned on, but it didn't quite make it to this part of the custom rule, it's going to abort and that won't happen. So that's for you to decide. Then here is a dosing pump. So you just set how much you want to dose, 13.3. Delay the dosing. Maybe we don't want it to dose for 10 seconds. Maybe we want these outlets to go. Maybe we want it wait 100 seconds, whatever. And then suspend dosing for maybe 25 minutes. You don't want another dose for 25 minutes no matter what. And so you can set that. Hit next, give it a name, enable the alerts if you want, review, and now it'll tell you what's going to happen. If some pH is less than 7.31 for 60 consecutive seconds, or if waterproof is greater than 27.7 for 10 consecutive seconds, this will all happen. Power 1 will switch 10 seconds after rule starts. This one will switch immediately. This will switch immediately, and so on. So if you like it, hit save, and now you've got your new custom rule. So that is your custom rules. It can do a lot. Custom modes, that's going to be kind of like custom rules, except a little bit different. So that will be coming shortly. Here's our charts. So I've got flow hidden. There's our flow. You can see that's when I was just playing with it. It's always at 0. So if you hide it, it also comes off the dashboard. So you can just show whatever charts you want to show. Now we only have those on the dashboard. Logs, I already went over that. And then our alerts, that isn't coming yet. You can still set alerts, but I'm going to have a main page that shows all the alerts set up so you can see all the alerts that are going to happen on a single page. And our feed schedules, that will be coming soon as well. So yeah, that's basically what I have. I think I'm forgetting some stuff here, but that's a good rundown. And yeah, there's a lot more to come, and I hope you enjoy it. Be sure to let me know if you come across any bugs or any features that you think can be improved or added. I definitely want to hear that stuff. So yeah, thanks for watching.